And welcome to the very first GEICO 15 Minutes or Less Coaches Show this season with the head coach of the College of Charleston Cougars, Doug Wojcik. It's brought to you, as always, by GEICO. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car insurance. Call GEICO at 1-800-947-AUTO. That's 1-800-947-AUTO, or visit geico.com. And we welcome you courtside here inside TD Arena, and it's great to be back here on the court and great to have basketball season underway. Exhibition game already under the belts for the guys, but before we get to that, Coach, you've been in town for a year and a half now. Hard to believe it's been that long, but first things first, how's the family? How are the kids, and how was your first year in Charleston?
Well, we're real comfortable, and I mean, it seems like we've been here longer in a positive way. Kids have really acclimated. I have two sons, 13 and 11, 7th and 6th grade. And they're really doing well. We got a paddle board now, about 5 skateboards, and they ride their bikes more than they ever have. So it's been a great transition.
Now your kids are also real involved in sports, obviously, both in big-time football and basketball players.
I would not say big time. Who knows? But they had a great football season. They went undefeated at Porter Gout and Bantam football, 7th and 6th grade. And for our first time as parents, they were able to play football together. Which was a lot of fun on Thursdays for me to go over to Porter Gout and watch him play.
Well, let's recap last year real quick. Again, this is the 15 Minutes or Less podcast. We don't have a whole lot of time, so we got to get to it. But last year, again, a terrific season in your first year, 24 wins. You and I were just going over all this last year. 24 wins overall, 14-4 in conference play. Win, of course, at top 25 Baylor. That was exciting early on. Number 2 in the nation, road wins, postseason invite, heartbreaking loss to George Mason, but still a great year last year.
It really was. I mean, I thought early on there was just a lot of pressure on the whole team with the Charleston Classic, St. John's, Coach Kress. You know, the way you lose to Louisville, coming out of finals. But in the end, there were a lot of great things there. A win over Boston College, a win over Baylor, a win at Elon, who was basically, you know, picked to be second in the league or third in the league, and 14 wins in the conference. So I thought we did a lot of good things. And yet at the same time, 24 wins, I could sit here and say, you know, I agree, we should have probably had 28 wins. And yet at the end of the day, it still comes down to March. We get to the championship game. I thought it was going to be our day, our third time with Davidson. But give them credit; they beat us, and they were a very good team. But a lot of positives. I thought Ajay really developed as a sophomore. Really became a great free throw shooter, and of course, I thought Anthony Stitt really became a heck of a defender and a guy that could run a team. So a lot of positives.
Well, since you're bringing up the players, let's get right to it. Again, already an exhibition game the other night for the guys as they defeat Newberry by a final of 102-87. First things first, I know you. I think I know you pretty well after knowing you for the last year and a half. I know you're not happy with the 87 points, but overall, I really thought the guys looked good. There were really a lot of bright spots. Newberry with 21 points. Joe Cheeley, our first chance to see him on the court, he had 10 points, 8 assists, so there's a lot to be happy about.
Between Joe and Canyon, I was really pleased. And when you think about, okay, both those guys are freshmen, and 4 years of those guys at 6'3" and 6'6", it's very exciting. Yeah, you're not great about giving up 87 points, but at the same time there were a ton of possessions, and you can't always dictate the tempo of a game or the way the game's going. So as you can see, the fans can see a lot more free throws being shot. You're going to have to be a very good free throw shooting team. Our guards didn't do a particularly great job at the line the other day, but Ajay went 7 for 7, which is really great. And then Ajay and Willis basically had double-doubles between them. So, you know, really exciting. I thought everything was not scripted on the floor. I thought they were just playing. I don't think we had quite that luxury last year as far as the amount of ball handlers on the floor, and we've got more ball handlers on the floor than we did last year. More options, more weapons to work with.
It seemed like they shot the ball well. 11 3-pointers for you guys.
Yeah, that's a real positive. Now against those guys, it's somewhat similar against Louisville. There's going to be a trap on the ball, a run and jump, a trap the first pass, a trap the ball screen, switching. And that's what happened on Saturday, so I thought that was really good for us. And of course, the transition defense, the way they pushed the basketball after makes or misses was really good for our team.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people were talking about this, that really, I mean, as far as an exhibition game goes, Newberry, I mean, you really couldn't have probably asked for a better team than Newberry to kind of prepare you for that Louisville pressure and speed and intensity. I still realize it's a different level, but still a good test for you guys.
Yeah, you know, as a coach, I'm kind of, torn right now. I thought the scrimmages are really good. and I'm torn as to what to do in the future, whether you do 2 scrimmages or 1 scrimmage and 1 exhibition, because it was nice to have the lights on. It was nice to have the uniforms on. It was nice for the fans to be here and the band and all that. So I thought we gained a lot of experience just from game format. And of course, I was pleased with a lot of things, especially the positive assist-to-turnover ratio.
One of the main guys coming back for you, obviously, is Willis Hall, and Willis was his typical self. Just everywhere, I think, double-double, 13 points, 15 rebounds. Baru, I think, had 15 rebounds. So, but Willis, it was good to see him back out there, obviously still healthy and still one of your team leaders.
Yeah, because one of the things that was lost in the postseason last year is Willis broke his foot.
Right. Yep.
So we played George Mason at home, yet Willis is the glue guy. He's the guy that does all the little things for you. So we did miss him late last year. So he did look good. He probably looked as good as he has in his career here, handling the basketball and making plays. The other positive was our first 3 buckets. Joe Cheeley gets us layups, so or wide open 3. So a lot of positives there in terms of making other players better with easier shots, and I was real proud of Joe Cheeley.
We've got a lot of new guys to talk about. Haven't even gotten to David Wishon yet, the big 7'2" redhead. So he made his first appearance on the court, and we talked about Canyonberry, and also Jonathan Burroughs-Cook. We got to talk about this and his dunk. Just a great highlight towards the end of the game. So that brings us to our first break. A lot to get to when we come back, as you're listening to the GEICO 15 Minutes or Less podcast here with the head coach Doug Wojcik.
GEICO says, let's make life simpler.
Look, I'm all for modern conveniences. But ask yourself, do you really need a blender with 23 buttons just to chop an onion? At GEICO, we think life should be simpler. So we make it super simple to save on car insurance. Just 1 click and you could be on your way to saving hundreds. Come on, people. Life doesn't have to be that complicated.
GEICO. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
And welcome back once again to the GEICO 15 Minutes or Less podcast with the head coach Doug Wojcik. I'm Jeff McCarriger. Thanks for tuning in. A lot of new guys to talk about, a lot of things that are new. I'm not sure if you can see it, but below us we've got a brand new logo here on the court, and you guys brought us some fancy new uniforms. We got a lot of new uniforms this year.
Yeah, I really like the logo. I think it shows very, very well. I like the way they did the court. We took the maroon off the baseline and the sidelines, and it's kind of makes the logo at midcourt stand out. And it's given us a lot of flexibility with the different things we can do with the uniforms and the logo itself. So I really like the change.
I like the white on white too that you guys are wearing, and of course you'll have the black ones that we'll wear on the road. It's pretty sharp looking uniform.
Yeah, I like the fact that we got the college on there,
Yeah.
particularly at home, because everyone knows who we are at home, and then on the road we'll have our black Charleston and then new maroon ones that say Charleston.
Well, again, in 15 minutes or less, I'm not sure if we can get to everybody, but let's talk about some of these new players, many of whom we saw in the exhibition win. Again, the guys win 102-87. Let's just start with Joe Cheeley. He's a guy that you and I have talked about a lot, out of Apopka, Florida. And in his debut, 10 points, 8 assists. And you and I were even texting yesterday. I mean, he's just one of those players who's wise beyond his years. He just sees the court, and the fact that we've got this kid for 4 years is pretty exciting.
Well, he's a really good player, really true point guard, sees the floor. He just turned 18 on Friday, the day before the exhibition game, and just has a very, very good vision and a really good feel. And more than anything else, I think he's a real competitor, and just really proud. His parents were here for the game, and 10 points, 8 assists, pretty good debut.
What was his demeanor like after the game?
Business as usual. He's a pretty serious kid.
Yeah.
Pretty serious kid, and easy to have a relationship with. Really important to him. Very responsible, and just it's like having a great quarterback. Trust me, I can sleep pretty easy knowing that we're going to have him. He's got great size. I think he has an unbelievable upside, not only here at the College of Charleston, but beyond college.
All right, let's move on to Canyonberry. Obviously, everyone knows his dad, Rick Barry, a Hall of Famer in the NBA, but Canyon, I thought, really played well for you. I loved his aggressiveness, made some three-pointers, drove to the basket, and finished with 21 points.
Really showed well, Jeff. I mean, just a lot of basketball plays, cutting back to the back door, the lob at the basket he got, made shots, drove it, got other people's shots. You know, just a player. And what I like is, with Anthony Stitt, Joe Cheeley, Canyonberry, anybody can start the offense. Anybody can take it off the defensive glass and start the break for us, and we can adjust. And the more that chemistry develops, the better we are, particularly the way that they're officiating the game now. All three of those guys can drive the basketball, make a play, drive and kick, shoot a float or shoot off the dribble, and really put us in a better position to get to the free throw line and score baskets.
That's something I love seeing, is the way you guys worked it around the perimeter, maybe down to the baseline and the canyon. I mean, just obviously he's a smart kid, terrific student, and just that intelligence that you also get from Joe Cheeley to kick it out to the wide open guy and make those shots. I thought that was pretty good.
Well, you know, as a coach, one of the things you really love about a player is if you practice something or you show them that maybe they didn't do this well and, hey, this is the way to do it the next time. The one thing about Canyon and Joe that I really, really appreciate and look forward to is that they really learn from their mistakes and they retain things. It's really important to be able to retain and move forward and think the game, and both those kids have very, very high basketball IQs.
David Wishon, 7'2", big old redhead. You brought him here from Tulsa. Got a chance to play the other night. I think he finished with 9 points. Good to see him on the court too. He's obviously a presence.
Well, one thing about David is the beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. Now, some people are going to think about that missed layup. He had a missed layup, but let me tell you something. He was better than I expected. Boy, does he handle the ball well on the press, coming up as an outlet, throwing it up. The ball comes out of his hands very, very well as a passer. Was really good in the post defensively. Just really excited about David and his size and his presence and being able to play him and Ajayi together. The chemistry between Willis, Ajayi, and David. I thought he had a great day. And when you think about it, he has 9 points, Ajayi has 9 points, and Willis has, I think, 15 or 13 points. That's very, 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 very good scoring from your post guys.
Let's switch to Terrence O'Donohue now, a kid you got out of Norcross, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. I was pretty impressed with Terrence too. I thought he had a good game.
It's tough to find the minutes a little bit, because what I do now have is flexibility with Anthony Thomas. And some people are probably saying Anthony Thomas coming off the bench, but he's the jack of all trades, master of, you know, a lot of different things, multiple position guy. Well, I could not play him as an advantage at the 4 last year because I needed him in the backcourt so much. So now I can move him to the 4. But getting back to Terrence's minutes, banger, rebounder, knows his role, lives with Willis. Willis is the best big brother that he could have. Willis is on the bench cheering for him, coaching him up. And give Terrence credit, really has taken to that role and knows that I'm in a tough spot. I can't play everybody. And I just really appreciate Terrence going in there and playing hard for the moments that he gets. Because there's going to be times David gets in foul trouble, Ajayi gets in foul trouble, and he's going to have to go in there as a big physical kid and get something done. And he did that on Saturday.
Let's wrap up some of these first-year players with Jonathan Cook, who provided us with the highlight of the night. What a dunk down the middle of the lane, and the place went nuts.
Well, and you love the personality. You know, it wasn't to show up Newberry at all, but he's at the free throw line pumping up the crowd. We need that. I thought the students showed out pretty well for an exhibition game. The people who came had a good time. I thought marketing did a good job. Radio guys didn't do a thing. You guys just sat over there, didn't have to work. But the whole setup, Jonathan really played to that crowd. We want that personality. And really, in your exhibition game, that may be that moment early on that Jonathan needs to say, man, I belong, I fit in, I'm gonna be a contributor.
Run out of time, only about 30 seconds left here. Real quick, obviously, next up, a huge test against the defending national champion, Louisville, as we will hit the road here later on this week. Obviously, it'll be a huge test for you guys. No Shane Bohannon, apparently. No Peyton Siva, but apparently the guard they got to replace Peyton's pretty good, and obviously Louisville's going to be tough.
Oh, they've got a lot of players. Watched them on tape. Luke Hancock didn't play in the exhibition. He may be playing again, and then certainly Kevin Ware may be back. So great test, 22,000. They say it's the best arena in the country. I thought it helped us with recruiting, with the guys we brought in, saying, hey, let's go there and play in our first game. Didn't know they'd be hanging the national championship banner, but certainly felt that way last December that they were good enough for that. But let's go, let's compete, let's handle the press, do the best we can in that regard. Let's rebound the ball. Ajayi played great last year. So I think it's good. I think it's good in recruiting. I think it's good for our program. And, you know, really kind of looking forward to kind of getting on the road. We were a pretty good road team last year.
Yeah, we were. No local TV on that one, by the way, but you can catch Everett and I will be on the radio broadcast for you on ESPN Radio 910. That'll be on Saturday. Congratulations on the win, exhibition. 102-87 was the final, and good luck on Saturday. We'll talk to you again.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
Yeah,
It's fun.
Yep.
Hopefully we made it in under 15 minutes. For the head coach, Doug Wojcik, I'm Jeff McCarriger. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you again next week.